Good morning, everybody. Hope you're all enjoying Vegas and it is fine. I'm Ravi, Venugopal, the founder of Giggso. More about me later. I have a question for all of you here. How many people think safety and responsibility is important in today's AI world? Can you raise your hands? Okay, that's a larger number than I expected. Thank you so much. So I'm here to talk about safety and responsibility for the most part, but I'm going to parrot some of the items the thematic person spoke about a little bit earlier. So this is a quote from Elon Musk. Many of us have mixed feelings about what he says, but it's an important quote about AI regulation. So what Elon Musk said was, if you do not regulate AI, and that's going to be a problem, and Dave Waters, whom I have great respect about, he completely validates that statement. Now, this is something from real time. This is late last year where there were a couple of legal suits, and this did land up into pretty big costs for the companies. So the government is cracking down on AI regulation and how people are implementing AI these days. Now, what is the AI landscape, right? So the biggest thing is everybody wants to do AI now. Thanks to ChatGPT, everyone wants to do AI. Everybody's got funding for AI. Most companies are on it. But there are a lot of complex things that AI happens to deal with. I'm going to talk about that in the next slide, but there's a last bullet point here which I've mentioned about RMF 1.0 and SR 11.7. These are regulations that the government has come up with. These are pretty silent. It's like the IRS. Government keeps looking at things, and AI is something that the government is very, very keen on. All right, this is an interesting slide. So what people see, right? So if you look at it, the AI ecosystem as an iceberg, you're only looking at the top portion of it. How do you develop a software? What are the algorithms? What's the data? How do I prepare the data? How do I manage the data? That's all the data science team. They all report probably to the VP of data analytics or the CDO. People talk data, and that's important, of course, because without data, there's no AI, right? But what happens when you actually go to production? How many AI models see the light of the day? You don't. And the reason is you have a huge iceberg underneath. And that is key. When you look at deploying an AI model in production, you've got to talk to more people than your data science teams. For example, you'll have to deal with the cloud infrastructure team. You have to deal with the data engineering team. Once you have covered those guys, now you've got to talk to the CSO. You've got to talk to the risk officers. So it is not easy to take a data model to production, so let's face it. And unmanaged, ungoverned AI without guardrails, I'll explain more about guardrails in a bit. It is pretty dangerous, and it is a fact that the stats that I mentioned there, only 54% of models go to production, and that's not me talking; it's from Gartner survey. And there's also some statistics that say if a customer has got a bad bot experience, there's 30% chances that they would pretty much get out of the company. That's the statistics again. So what are the issues with badly governed AI that goes to production? So obviously there's business losses, and then there's regulatory penalties, and there's legal liabilities like I showed in the slides before. So the business impact, apart from the obvious things, you have ROI, your model's not performing well, definitely gets to business losses, increased cost of operations. A lot of people invest in a lot of AI, but in 2 years, it goes into some costs, right? If you into project management, you know what some cost is, and then you just drop it off and keep moving on, and that is all losses. You do not want to have AI that is not answerable. So this is from a Harvard report in 2020. So the guardrails that you establish for AI, right? So it's got 8 primary categories. I'm going to get with all of them here. Privacy, accountability, security, transparency, and explainability. Fairness, non-discrimination is something that the legal suits were talking about. Human control. So when we talk AI, everybody seems to think that it all happens automatically. Everything is nice and dandy. You get in a bunch of model ops tools, and it all works clean. But no, humans have to be at the helm of controlling AI. You need to look and have toll gates in every spot to make sure that the AI is working right. AI is an extension of automation, right? So you are responsible for what the AI has to do. Now, this is a framework that I came up with. This is 4 pillars, broad strokes, performance, security, privacy, and explainability. I can give the slide for a later time for people you to review if you want. But if you look at this, the privacy, explainability, and security parts are super important, and they are not governed by the data scientists. I'll talk about a little bit more here. So if you look at it, again, there's three pillars that I classify safety and ethics and regulations that come in. One is model monitoring, which is what the gentleman before me spoke about, right? So he talked about how do you bring logs, how do you bring metrics together, how do you do process automation within that, but that is a data science problem. You look at the data science team, they would be able to talk about it. But models and AI is not just the data science, it's the business, it's the customer. So the customer has to reflect to what your AI has exposed. So now, for that, you need governance. You need access management. So he spoke a little bit about some of the points on access policies. But these are different roles from different people in an organization. All of this put together becomes your safety and responsibility. And that is what is super important. So now, this is not a large company problem or a small company problem. So this is a global problem. Anybody who's doing AI, design thinking of safety first is vital. So who we are at Giggso, we are an AI ML ecosystem management platform, end-to-end, no code. Why is it no code? I'll explain that. So before we get to that, what are the four pillars that we spoke about? Establishing guardrails, quality and observability, data quality, data integrity, that needs to be checked. Security and compliance. So you need to be compliant, so you need to put in rules, workflows, tollgates, all of that put together. And that is something that our guardrails bring together. There's workflows and automation, because if you hit a snag, if you hit a drift, if you have an explainability issue, a customer sends you an email saying that, hey, my AI prediction is wrong. You don't want that to go into a legal suit, so you need to have an immediate workflow that triggers response set of actions. And then finally, alerting and audits. That is mandatory for every platform. But the keyword that in the bottom that I put together, one integrated platform to safely and responsibly manage AI. Why is it important? Because see, with AI ecosystems, what people do not recognize is it's a triangular problem that you need to solve. It's for people, process, and technology coming together. You see the number of stakeholders on the top. Data science teams, data engineering teams, business, risk compliance, infra, and vendors. So you have people coming in from third-party companies that deploy AI for your business. How do you manage that? They're not going to give you the code, and you don't want to give them the data. So you have to have a central point, kind of like a DMZ zone, where you're going to be managing the vendor's AI prediction, so you don't get sued or you don't get ROI losses. So this is a vital situation which every company needs to consider, because it's business customers, auditing and traceability, and then compliance and regulations. Compliance and regulations, it's like IRS auditing, right? You never know who's going to get hit and who's not. So, but the other points are very important. So this is our platform. It's a singular platform. It's available as an appliance. You can download it. You can start using it. So you can bring the design and security thinking first. So you can do black box AI testing. You can do pretty much the entire whole scope of model observability. But the key factors are you can retrain, you can bring ROI, but you can also manage your stakeholders. Managing stakeholders is important because they are the ones who are going to be helping you take your models to production. And these are some of our customers and awards. So we've been chosen as Michigan's Startup Award, and we work primarily with the financial companies, and we're a very early stage startup. And that's pretty much it. I'm Ravi Venugopal. I bring about 30 years of experience managing AI and data engineering. And I'm the founder of the platform, and I'm available for any questions anybody has. Thank you so much.